Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi Tai. Today we're doing episode 13, which is the final episode of Minagroshi. Same night as last episode, I wasn't planning to, but it's just too hype not to record. Um but yeah, this is exciting. I think, at least in my opinion, probably the best of Higurashi, like the best scenes incoming. Um, Obviously that's just personal preference though, but yeah, it should be fun. You're like, Aiden, are you gonna cry? Probably not. If you've seen the highlight reel, which I recommend you do, I did cry during the upcoming scene in Higurashi, in Minagroshi, like pretty bad during the visual novel, but I think I'll be good. Aiden, your eyes are red. It's because I took a shower recently. Okay, it's not because of crying. I give it an 80-20, honestly. 80-20, I won't cry. And I actually think it's gonna be a music diff, and I do comment about the music in the anime and my preference to the visual novel music, but most of the time it's just me talking, right? I don't actually think it doesn't really bother me much, but I do think Hollow, which is sound used during that scene, like, since I enjoy the scene so much in the visual novel, I think like imagining the scene without Hollow, I don't know, it gives me some resistance to the tears. Honestly, if they used Hollow for the scene, I'd call it a 50-50 that I would cry. No cap, 50-50, but I think we're good. But yeah, no, I'm excited. Should be a fun stuff. They're doing all of Minagroshi this episode, so it's kind of a lot to fit in, depending on what they want to focus, but we'll see what they got, man. But yeah, let's get the show on the road. Get your episode ready. You need your own copy. I don't have it for you. We'll count down from 3 and then go start your episode, and I will start mine, and we should be synced for the full length reaction. As per usual, timer in the bottom right here. Which you can use to pause, to sync up again, yada yada yada, and after the episode we'll do a post episode review. So definitely check it out, because this episode should be an interesting post review. Even if I don't think it's done super well, then it'll still probably be interesting, because I guess we'll just have to see though. We'll have to see. So get your episodes ready, guys. We're going to be starting Higurashi Tai, episode 13, Minagroshi, End Game. In 3, 2, 1, go! Banter? No banter. I don't know. I guess since I mentioned Hollow, the OST, what are like some banger visual novel tracks? Hollow's like probably my favorite, which I know isn't probably a popular opinion. It's just, because this scene's so good. It integrated so well. I like Hollow. It's kind of like with Umineko, my favorite song is Future, which I'm sure it's like, that's nobody's favorite song. But Hollow's good. Dear You, obviously, it's everyone's favorite song. My favorite version, or the one I don't know if it's my favorite, but I really like the Destructive Mix, which is like the Takeno montage song. The drum song is good. The club music is good. Good stuff. This is some, yeah. Pretty good soundtrack, honestly. I know people have been telling me when I was playing the visual novel, it doesn't really hold a besides Dear You, it doesn't really hold a candle to Umineko's, but I feel like I can disagree. I feel like, obviously, Umineko's soundtrack is a bit better. Um, maybe more than a bit, but I think Higurashi has more bangers than just Dear You. Yes, I know Hollow is like a Dear You remix, but kinda. But still. But still. Anyway, let's get the party started. Oishi is dead. Takano is plotting, and it's gonna get a little crazy in here. Fun fact, in the visual novel, they ordered sushi. I mean, it could have been off screen, but bad instincts, Shihan. The cleaning crew. Everything's good, right? Yeah. Fuck the police officers. Alright. I did mention this in the last episode, I think. The guy talking is actually a named character in the visual novel. The first guy. But he's a generic in the anime, huh? I forgot his name. It also starts with a K, I think. But maybe. Actually, I think it starts with an A. See how fast they go, bro? Ninja blurred. Good Tech by Satoko. Satoko being a pillar of support. It's a pretty nice scene too, just because, you know, how Rika was a pillar for Satoko. It's just so crazy, like, you know, you enjoy the child welfare arc, but it's just so different from this. So like slower paced than what's about to happen. It's honestly like pretty great mid scene, I think, even though it is different. Hanya, you're making her doubt. You're not helping. It's going in. Oh, with the super taser guns, the high tech tasers. So these are like super lethal long range tasers. They can instantly kill in one hit. Big Bird 4. Pretty sure this was the Phoenix squad. Oop, trapped. I love the Takano cape, man. I'm such a big fan of capes for character designs. The Satoko touch. I mean, we know the mountain dogs are no match for the Satoko traps. Big birds. Run. Zooming. It's a good strat. Fun fact, I think in this scene, Satoko just like runs and drop kicks that guy. didn't throw anything. I think just from memory. I just remember it being funny. Uh, watch out. No. Blessed Rika. She knows. Why are you even aiming, bro? You're not gonna kill. I guess they can turn it down, right? The taser. Squat up. Double tap. Yeah, the mountain dogs are shit at spying, bro. Did you see last arc? Satoto was just spotting them every time. Ren actually brought the cleaver too, huh? I don't remember it, to be honest. I just remember Kichi's bad and Shion's own taser. Uh-oh. Losing the kids, man. You hate to see it. Okinoki knows that. I mean, they're strong. It is always just funny that trained mercenaries lose to a bunch of kids. I swear you'll probably never be hired again, honestly. As for Okinoki, corner touch. What? Why are you gonna hit me with this episode? Eat your veggies, the ones you can recognize. I get the reference. Broccoli. Yeah, I was gonna say Okinoji's chilling in Uminato, so he doesn't need to worry. But steal the van. It's already a halfway point too. Jesus. Oh, 9 minutes. Okay, early halfway point, huh? They can ninja blur too. Oh man. Oh, I thought Rena just punched the shit out of him. Strat. What was that then gonna do? Bite her? Ew. Thanky. Scuffed subs, man. I'd love to imagine Satoto literally just is just spawning traps and it wasn't pre-planned. So good, man. You love that back kick? Spinning back kick? The Rena logic. Sure, they'll bring that back up. I remember that. Mm. Yep. Pros. Haha. Mountain dogs. Such a meme. They become such a meme in the net start. Uh-oh. Oh, they didn't do the time stop, huh? We'll talk. We have to talk about that. Dang. No son, bro. Oh? Oh. We've heard this before. We'll have to talk about that. They didn't do the time stop thing. Run. Hmm. With this Satoshi bat. Hmm. This is different too. This is the one point where you have to criticize the aesthetic gun on her in her shirt, man. Come on. Just whip it out. Everyone just thinks it's a prop. We're good. We're good. This is a totally different rendition of the scene. Though this is quite entertaining. Rena. Okay. Now that's a different order, too. This is the same line, though. Or dialogue. It's a great face. It's a great counter face by Rena, too, by the way. No, Satoko. Oh, you survived Tefe, you can't go down yet. But, ah, interesting. It changed Xian's dialogue. Jesus. Still pretty cool, though. Oh, we'll talk about it. I think it's just the crux of being too hyped, huh? This is cool that this is always super metal. And Hanyu was like in the corner saying, "No, Rika, no." Uh, Glad Hanyu finally got pumped up a bit. You love to see it. Ghost Squad. You tried your best, Satoko. Unlucky. Uh, okay. Nice, they're doing this. This seems always pretty sweet too. It's what I've been saying, Hanyu. So purple though. Guess it's reminiscent of how they did the first ghost scene for the first episode of Higurashi. They're in the fragment sea thing. Okay. And it turns colorful. Decent, decent. They did skip out some really cool dialogue from that scene there. And we're going straight to this. Nice. This scene was cool too. Oh, the net scene also. Mm. Mm. Chia. Oh, it does such scene characters you actually know because it's an anime. Die. Because in the visual novel, it's just a random villagers you saw. I don't know what to say. We'll talk about it in the analysis. I think this episode is like probably really good, and I'm sure I'd actually bet you a lot of people would probably have this as like one of their favorites at least. I think I'm just like so blinded because I loved the ending of Minaroshi so much it would like never live up to expectations. But we're kind of going, dude. I warned it in the intro. I had a slight worry that maybe this wouldn't be as good as I thought it would. But yeah, I probably have to rewatch this sometime else too. Going into it with a less hyped mind, because it was cool, right? But there is a lot of changes to be fair from the visual novel. I think it's interesting to think about though how they did the murder scene and why they changed it. It feels a lot more natural maybe in the anime. But yeah, well we're done to talk about it. I'm trying to not be pissy. Bonus. Miyoko's anime debut. Look how tiny she is. Wow. That should be fun. I love Mio's backstory. Okay. We are done now. 28. Great. All right. We are finished the episode. Thank you for watching the reaction. We're done a post analysis. Welcome if you're just joining now. That was an episode. I hope that wasn't too bad of a reaction, dude. I think it's my own fault. I was too hyped. Now I was expecting to go into it and being like, "Oh, this is really good," but it's not better. But like, I don't know. Like I mentioned in the credits, I bet that there's definitely a nice amount of people that would definitely put this as their favorite episode, maybe top three. I'm just assuming things, just because it is a play on Minagoroshi's ending, and Minagoroshi's ending's like one of my favorite things. So, but you know, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't super happy about it. Now, you're like, why? Aiden? It's really hard to explain it. I think just the best way is because the whole scenes they cover in this episode. Let's just say it's probably like my favorite scenes in all of Higurashi. So obviously like even if it is good in the anime, it's still I'm still gonna feel unsatisfied more so than scenes that I consider good and they do an okay job, right? Like how in Anotakashi I was kind of disappointed that they just cut out the whole Rena chasing Teichi thing. And they did like they completely cut it off, so it's like worse than what happened in here. Um but I still feel more disappointed here because I was looking forward to it so much. At least we didn't cry. But no, let's go over it because there's a lot of differences in the visual novel and it's kind of interesting to go through it. So we start off, Oishi is late because he died. They're actually showing the cleaning crew. Just splashing. I mean, it's not water. It's probably something to help get rid of the blood, right? New police people come in. Takano doesn't give a fuck. Like I mentioned in the reaction, one of them's actually a named character, the police guy, but Forgot his name. He wasn't that important. I'm just trying to skip words. Satoto being, like I commented, it is cool to see Satoto kind of being a pillar for Rika, you know, trying to be positive since Rika kind of paying it back for how Rika helped her early in the arc, or at least trying to. Hanyu's still a Debbie Downer, but Rika is determined. I do like this part where they escape, because I believe in the visual novel they just escape and they had the firecrackers. In this one, there's a multiple traps. And I do like the firecracker thing, because I think it wasn't Otenodi, it was like someone, it was just like the person attacked by firecrackers in the visual novel, and he was like, gunfire? Wait, no, it's firecrackers, those stupid brats. And I love how Otenodi's just like, this is freaking pathetic, dude. Like I mentioned in the episode, it is always kind of funny that the kids are putting up a really good fight against trained mercenaries. And I mean, in Matsuri Bayashi, it just gets a little worse for the mountain gods. Then we have Satoto's attempted self-sacrifice. I love Satoto's little freaking, I don't even know what it is. It's like a sack of sand he throws, or gravel she throws at the guy. I'm pretty sure in the visual novel, I could be wrong, she just runs up and like drop kicks him, but I could be wrong. And then Rika realizes, yes, if she survives, she can have a better chance at remembering for the next world, but she doesn't. She chooses to protect Satoto, and I think this is a key difference, because, you know, they didn't do the inner thoughts, but in Rita's mind, she kind of has this realization, which she never has, which is that, yes, she dies in every world and she respawns in a new one, so it's fine, but she never really thought about the consequence, like what happens to everyone else, right? So she hasn't, though she might have had this realization like earlier, a little bit earlier, before they got attacked. I forgot exactly where it was, but it does kind of shape her mindset of protecting her friends, because, you know, while she responds, this word Satoko's situation is just like screwed, right? So it's a cool moment from Rika for sure. With the super stun guns. For some reason, I always imagined the stun guns in the visual novel, and I think they described them that way, but I could be wrong, as being like more gun shaped, because they're like these super advanced stun guns that can kill in one shot, which is obviously different than normal. But these ones, I mean, they're still kind of cool. But then you got the backup squad. Rolling up, ambushing. You love to see it. It's because in the anime, they came back because Rena had a bad feeling, but in the visual novel, Rena literally like just spotted one of them spying. So like I said before, the mountain gods are just shit at recon somehow. Like in the last arc too, in the anime only arc, Satoto just kept spotting the guy, like he was doing so shit. But yeah, squad up, full of weapons, and Mion just needs her freaking body, bro. Sounded kind of weird, but martial arts master Mion. We'll probably see that better in the next arc, if they show it properly. Yeah, but then you see this. This is done really well though. I'm pretty sure it's like pretty key on to what was happening in the visual novel, like when they're fighting against the mountain gods, you know, Satoko's traps, I guess just the ability to 1v1 them separately is very impressive. And I kind of diss the mountain gods, but to be fair, Mion and Shion have some pretty hardcore training. Well, at least Mion. And Ren is just super athletic, and Keiichi probably not as athletic as Rena, but on a similar level. And Satoko's literally a genius. So, and Rita's the ultimate bait. So, using all their strengths to kind of overcome this challenge. And then they made their plan to get to the van, and that's when we get to the massacre part. Actually, hold on. Oh shit. Okay. Just to set the mood while we're talking about the scene, gotta put on the song, man. You might not have even heard it before. Anyways, we're getting into the massacre scene now. Probably like one of the best scenes. So this is a really, really different scene than it is in the visual novel. Like, it's completely different. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but like I said, it's just like literally like my favorite scene ever. So obviously I'm always not gonna like it as much unless they like really did it to a T. And obviously changes it and be like, I mean, like the visual novel scene is literally like the best scene, so I change it. But let's just compare them real fast. Think about it. So they make the charge and Teichi gets shot immediately and is incapacitated. Now this is completely different. I don't hate this idea in theory though, but I think they kind of needed to play the rest of the scene out. Let me talk about the visual novel scene for a second first. So in the visual novel, they're charging and then time slowly stops because Hanyu stops time, and then Rita's just like, Hanyu, what are you doing? And then she's like, Rita, this world's over. And then like Rita's questioning why. And then Hanyu points at Teichi and there's literally like a bullet like right in front of his chest, like he's about to get shot by Takino. And then it turns out like all of the club members are like conscious during this time stop, and they're all like analyzing the situation until they realize, yes, Teichi's about to get shot. And then obviously they're all panicking and they're like, oh, can we get out of this? And then, you know, Teichi being the coolest character ever, which it does show in the anime, to be fair, says, no, you know, I'm kind of doomed. Even if I survive, I'll just slow you guys down. You guys need to regroup your mental and save Rita. Okay, that's enough of the song. I need to concentrate. The song's just making me sad, bro. I need to concentrate. Yeah, so they're all in this frozen time. They're all like analyzing the situation. Teichi's about to die. He's kind of motivating them. They also spot Takino being a little cheeky with her shooting the gun at Teichi. Still kind of surprised because, you know, Takino's kind of their friend. And like, what? Takino shot Teichi? But yeah, Teichi's being a cool guy. And he's like, oh, you need to group up. We need to save Rita. Don't worry about me. And, you know, with Rena's help, they all kind of gather this resolve. And this is done in the anime, kind of. They skip the time scene, but they still kind of have this moment of resolve, you know, gathering their resolve to save Rika, which is interesting. It's just a little awkward, I think, with how they did it, just because you know, they're having this like heartfelt conversation while Takino and the guys know where they are. I mean, they could just be, you could say, oh, they're just playing with them, but it does seem a little silly that they're just like spending 2 minutes while Takano and the men are just like literally a little bit away. Watching them, I don't know. Maybe planning to capture them better. But it just feels a little more awkward. Now, like I was saying, I do kind of like the idea of Kichi just being shot. Um, but I feel like if they did that without the time strip stuff, I think they should have just did the rest the same. Um, and not adapt it. Because I think Kichi being shot like right away, it does add the sense of it being very sudden and stuff. Um, a big surprise. You're starting to get some hope that they can do it, and then it just ends. But I still think the time stop thing might even do that better. And you know, in for my Minaduroshi reading experience, I pretty much throughout the whole arc, I thought obviously there's another arc. Rita's not surviving. Rita's not surviving. But for a brief moment, maybe even involuntarily, once the club members saved Rita, something like even though it goes against my logic that I know they're not going to survive, for like this very brief part of time, I was like, oh my god, I kind of have hope. And I feel like the time stop, like while it kind of loses the surprise of Kichi just getting shot, it adds like a totally different feeling of dread. Just because it's just a really weird feeling, right? Because Kichi knows he's about to die. Like everyone knows Kichi's about to get hit by a bullet, and there's no stopping that, right? So I feel like, and despite that, Kichi's like riling everyone up. It's like, oh, don't worry about me, just focus on Rika. And then, okay, and before it unfreezes, Takano somehow talks to. I don't really know what's happening there. This is I'm just describing the scene right before I started crying, huh? In the highlight reel. But then Takano's like, "Oh, are you done reminiscing about life?" And then Teacher's like, "Takano, we still haven't given up yet. We've regrouped. We're ready to face you head on." And then Takano's like, "Oh, has your life flashed before your eyes?" And then Teacher just gets shot. Then time resumes. Teacher gets shot. He doesn't have this moment while he's reassuring everyone again in the anime. He literally just twitches on the ground and dies. Um, and then unlike the anime where there's this huge struggle to protect Rika, their resolve just breaks. Like as soon as they say that, oh, we're gonna, even if Kichi dies, we're gonna march forward. They just lose it, right? They can't fight back. Obviously, you can say that, but like when Kichi actually dies, no one really has the strength to fight back, and they all get captured on the spot. Well, in this one, they actually kind of put up a fight. And I think now that I'm thinking about it a bit more, it does kind of make sense because in this one they do have Keiichi. Even he inspired them post getting shot. So it made sense that they have the shock that he got shot, but they got motivated afterwards. While in the visual novel, he hadn't actually gotten shot yet. They know he's going to, but it's still after gaining like this motivation, after actually seeing him get shot and die, they lose it instantly. And this is obviously where it takes a huge turn. um so yeah, in the visual novel they all literally just get caught. They put up a fight, but they all basically get pinned down to the ground, kind of like at the ending of the scene with Satoko, Shion, and Rika. But it was like all five of them, right? um I think going through the anime just quickly is an easier way. So, well, not all. We'll talk about Mion. So, in the anime, Mion volunteers to act as a distraction. Um, maybe after seeing the blood, Kichi's blood on her hands, she also gets inspired to be epic, which is cool. I love Mion. And it's a cool anime only moment of her really steeling herself to save them all. Obviously, she dies off screen and doesn't last too long, but it's still cool. But in the anime, it's a totally different thing with Mion that actually probably made me cry the hardest. So imagine in the visual novel, everyone's taught and is walking over first to Mion, I believe the conversation is, oh, I've always wanted to see your bat tattoo. And then Mion's like, oh, go ahead and see it. It's nothing special. And then Ren is like, oh, no, don't kill Mion, while everyone's protesting. And then Tatan is like, oh, I can't. She's your leader. She needs to die first. And then, like, you know, in the anime, Mion kind of goes out as a badass. In the visual novel, it's the complete opposite. I just feel so sorry because, like, her last moments were like a shot face, and she was like about to bed, and she's like, "Please stop, no!" And then Takano just shoots her point blank in the face, which it just hurts her heart, right? Because that was probably the most brutal death for me. Because unlike everyone else, minus Satoto, who kind of steeled themselves, and Mion in the anime. Even though Mion was kind of putting up a brave front, saying, "Oh, you can look at my bat tattoo." Like when she was about to get shot, her face like totally changed, and she's like, "Wait, no!" Like actually, like starting to beg a bit, and that just hit really hard, right? Seeing Mion of all people bed. So yeah, that was like a really dreadful scene. Which it's just like more dread in the visual novel that worked towards this. Well, in this one, most of them go out kind of like a badass, right? Um, then in the anime, they kind of switch up the death order. So Rena goes next. Again, acts like a badass, beats up to Takano, and then just gets shot. But she got a few good jabs and verbal jabs at her, so worth haha. In the visual novel, after killing Mion, Takano was gonna go kill Satoko, but Shion protested and screamed not Satoko, kind of showing like what they showed when Shion was trying to motivate Satoko to live, because she cares about Satoko. And in this one, because in the anime, Shion just kind of begs for Satoko's life. In the visual novel, Shion was actually the opposite. She was just fuming at Takano, and she actually accused Takano of being the one to kill Satoshi. And you're like, oh, are we gonna finally get the Satoshi answer? And then Takano's like, oops, I don't like telling my secrets, and then just shoots Shion. Also, it's a good detail to note in the visual novel, when going up to kill Shion, she like steps on Keiichi's dead body or whatever, just to add salt in the wound. And I think another really big part of this scene in the visual novel is Rita's inner commentary, because Rita's, there's not, it's an anime, there's no inner commentary, but Rita's commentary just adds another level of, like when both of the Sonozakis die, Rita's like, oh, and just like that, the two lively Sonozaki twins are gone from this world. Like, it just adds more to it, man. I mean, obviously, I would definitely recommend anyone who is an anime fan and hasn't seen the visual novel scene to probably go watch it. It's a very different one, and I'm not gonna say, oh, you're gonna think it's the best scene ever, because obviously your experience is different, or the experience seeing Higurashi, so it might not hit you the same at all. This is all just personal, to be fair. Well, most reviews and stuff are anyways, so. But yeah, it's a very different experience, I feel. More dread-filled, less badass, and it's just super sad. But yeah, so they kind of switched Shiona and Rena's death in the anime manga visual novel. Then next is Rena. Rena hits her with, "Do you enjoy killing people, you monster?" And then they kind of have a very similar talk where Rena accuses her of being Oyashiro-sama's curse, and Takano's basically like, "No, I'm not a proxy, I am the curse, I'm gonna become a god after killing this village." And then Rena hits her with the same verbal jab that, oh, Oyashiro-sama is already with you, so you can't become him. So yeah, it's similar, except Rena's not standing up on fighting, she's also tied to the ground. So yeah, now we're caught up. Two people left, Satoko and Rika. Very similar style of Satoko dying. Though seeing it, it is important to say, seeing it in animation is pretty brutal. I think especially for Satoto, since they kind of just didn't actually show the act of killing, but in the anime when they shot Shien through the head in Satoto, it was very graphic. So I do appreciate that. Though they did miss the Satoto death. I'm I will say by the time I did sober up by Shion's death. Like I was upset during Keiichi's and Mion's, and I did sober up. So I had more of a level head. But for Satoto's death, they did cut some important details, because Takano actually talks to Satoto and tells her that she's actually supposed to bring Satoto back to Tokyo, because there's a bounty on her head. But she tells Satoto that if she does bring her back alive, it's not a lot of money, and Satoto will probably spend the rest of her life being a test subject. Which obviously Satoto's like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. So that's why she asks the quiz. She doesn't just ask it for fun. I mean, it still works in the anime, but there's actually more of a reason. And since Satoto got it right, Takano hit her with a mercy killing. But yeah, that's basically the massacre scene. I will say I like the visual novel better. But I can imagine people saying that the anime version is superior if you really loved sorry, I have hiccups. If you really loved it, I think it goes with any scene, honestly. If you like really love the anime version of a scene, you might just find it superior than the visual novels version. It's fine. um but yeah, then you go into Rika. Oh, I forgot to mention, like, there's so many good parts about the massacre scene. Like right before they started killing Mion and stuff, like just to put more dread in, while Rika was still assessing the situation with Keiichi died, Rika just phones in, oh, HQ, I taught our subject, bring my tools, and also bring a cleaning squad and 5 body bags. Then you realize, oh, they're trying to kill everyone. It's just, I think that's a great distinction to separate the two. This one, there's a lot of cool moments, I feel. It's more badass, more, you see this unity despite people dying, they're still unified, still going strong. While in the visual novel, it's more, it's like the breaking of unity, the despair, I feel, is stronger there. But that's my rant done pretty much. Settings, stop it. I think the Rika Takano scene is pretty much the same. I don't know. Did Takano actually? I was gonna say that, but I was like I was trying not to say anything. was there Did Takano say she was gonna kill Rika Watanashi style, or did she just assume it? Because in the visual novel they explain it more. Takano's like, oh, you know how I'm gonna kill you? Don't worry, I'm not a masochist or a sadist, not a masochist. I'm not gonna make you feel pain. I'm gonna drug you out, which is then when you realize that yes, the drugs are the things that caused Rika to forget her deaths. But it's pretty much the same, to be fair, minus some Hanyu commentary saying Rika, don't do it. I will say in the anime too, I love Takano. Her facial expressions are really, really good throughout the scenes. You love to see it. Then you have Hanyu and Rita's discussion in the car. This is well done, I feel. Very accurate. Where Hanyu finally realizes, hey, I will contribute to helping too. Then you have Rita dying on the steps. They didn't show it, huh? I thought it was done. So it could be wrong. My interpretation of this scene in the visual novel was, because in the anime they show it, Rita's naked, she's about to be killed by Takano. She's already talking to the spirits a bit, but when Takano finally kills her, she starts talking to the spirits and goes to the next world. In the visual novel, I could be wrong on this, but I feel like instead Rita was talking to, like, they had all this talk, Rena was talking about how Hanyu needed to believe in stuff while she was still alive. Because the whole point of the Watanashi style killing, the traditional one, is to keep the person alive while removing all their organs. So it's like a really brutal scene. I'm just imagining, Hanyu's holding Rika's hand, Rika's looking up to the sky, sees her friends, and they're just having this whole conversation about how they almost beat fate and stuff, and believing while Rika's literally just getting her guts torn out by Takano. I'm pretty sure that's how it happened in the vision, which is just brutal to imagine. Probably maybe even too graphic for the anime, to be fair. Um, um, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right, because I know, like, while they're talking with the ghost friends, I know, like, Rika, like, comments on not Satoko, Takano's sadistic smile during the whole thing and stuff. So yeah, kind of simmered it down a little bit, huh? Oh, this is important too. So they're talking about in post life, they're talking about how Hani needed to believe in stuff. It got the main message across, but they really cut out some nice scenes where, like, Hani's like, "Oh yes, how would I help? I'm useless monster that can't interact with anyone," and which they showed in the anime. But after that, she's like, "Oh, would you guys really want my help? I'm a monster. Would you really play with me?" Stuff like that. Like, you kind of see more of Hanyu's character, that while obviously she's insecure about not being able to interact with anything, and she's also insecure that she's not human, right? And then, like, everyone takes turns reassuring her. Like, Ren is like, "Oh, even though I've never met you before, I've always felt that there's someone who wanted to play with us." And, like, everyone just took turns, you know, kind of telling Hani to come. And there's, like, this really nice CG while they're all, like, everyone including Rita's just going to the next fragment, and they're holding out their hand for Hani to come to, like, fully accepting her as one of them. Which I feel like they kind of showed like how everyone, instead they showed how everyone would have thought that if Hanyu believed, they would have won. But there's not this sense of unity that that the visual novel brought, where it really felt like Hanyu was a part of the group. Like, she kind of, like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, they kind of just told her she needed to believe. Hanyu accepted that, and they all promised to try harder in the anime. In the other one, Hanyu, like, kind of spent more time voicing her insecurities, and everyone kind of reassured her, saying that they would be her friends no matter what she is. So I kind of missed that. I thought that was, like, a really cute scene. This is such a long video, huh? So then they have the meeting with the prime minister. Obviously, they had to cut it down, and I'm not too disappointed about this one. Just to note that in the visual novel, it was only 3 people, like the prime minister's secretary and, like, the military guy. Obviously, it was longer, and it was more of a dilemma, right? But it doesn't matter. You know what? It's fine if they had to cut it. I'm not too mad at it. The disaster thing, though, it's really good in the visual novel. I would also recommend you watching them. So in the anime, they just show right when them gassing them in the classroom, which is obviously hard to watch, especially knowing Shia and the principals in the room. In the visual novel, though, it's like a whole 45-minute scene, 45 to an hour-minute scene, where they show them all arriving to the village, all of them with microphones guiding the villagers to follow protocol. It's with, again, for, like, the whole time they're playing the freaking sad music that I just showed you. People ask, is it okay if I bring this and this? And, it doesn't really matter since they're all gonna get executed. Again, the music just brings it home, just knowing that all these people are leading them to their death, showing some people being skeptical. It's like, "Hey, why do you guys have guns?" And they're like, "Oh, we're just here to protect your homes if bandits try to get in." It's just so cool. I like just imagining the scene played out. There's some soldiers who start break down crying, because they have to do this. And right once they bring them all to the school, like, there's a bunch of different locations. They even say a prayer. Tatano's crazy. Even, like, her subordinate's like, "What, are you actually enjoying this?" And Tatano's like, "Yeah, yep. I'm picking the fruits of my labor." Um, and they kind of explain, because this is the next day. This isn't the same night. This is the next day. Um, and the elders are like, oh, this is punishment for Rika and those other kids being on her Kakushi last night or whatever. But yeah, there's just like so much to the disaster scene that's good. But to be fair, I guess if you don't have time, you don't have time to do it. It's not as bad. At least they showed the killing properly. Oh, and then there's the crazy Takano speech during all the killing. It's like 15 minutes long. It's like a very delayed Takano monologue about her becoming God. They kind of had it at the end, but it's literally insane. Yeah. To be fair, I wasn't a huge fan of that monologue, but it is epic. But yeah. I think that's gonna wrap it up. We spent a lot of time on this analysis. Again, I'm not gonna lie. Disappointment is an emotion I'm feeling, maybe a little unjustly. But it is. It is. Even though I think the episode can definitely be considered really good by people. It just feels so weird. But yeah, I think that's it. Hopefully my points came across well. And who knows, maybe when I watch this again, after knowing that they changed it without being omega hyped for it, I might even enjoy it a bit more. But that's gonna finish off me and Higurashi. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully I didn't seem too too out of it during the reaction. That was also something I didn't want to seem like too disappointed, right? So I was trying to be like semi quiet or positive. But next arc, Matsuri Bayashi. Should be fun. We get Takano back. Dude, Takano backstory is so good, man. It's so good seeing Miyoko. So that should be fun. I'm excited to see how they handle that. And you know, past that, once they do the fragment collecting stuff, connecting, I don't know how they're gonna handle that. That might be a little crazy. But yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you enjoyed. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.